Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. This is Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, Sultan of the Empire of Morocco. The de jure Sultan as of June 8, 2024, by duly elected votes of the Moroccan people, as distinguished from a so-called special elections based on a coup d'etat in which the office were they sought to subvert it with a one Kendon Bey, who is the fraudulent sultan of a fraudulent jurisdiction known as ANPAC 2.0. Today we have our open discussion class Sunday, April 5th. Um, our usual open session class. Today we'll be discussing many subjects, but there's a question that came about regarding the flag of the Empire of Morocco, as opposed to, or as distinguished from, the flag that Prophet Noble Jew Ali presented. So I'll begin by sharing the screen, and we'll look at the history of the empire flags. Now, my question to the floor, who I presume have been Moorish subjects, I'm sorry, Moorish Americans, um, before seeing the truth about decolonization in the Empire of Morocco. So those of you who are students of the MST of A, what does when did Noble Jew Ali present the Moorish flag, the so-called Moorish flag?
When I don't know the exact year. I want to say when he came back from over there. When he came back from Egypt, was it? I don't know the exact year. I want to say it was in like the 1913.
Islam. That's the year he supposedly presented this flag that you see on the screen to the Moors. But is that true? You see the MST of A.
And
Go ahead.
the brother that had raised that concern, I think he is in 1915. But I don't never see them come back for those questions be answered. They just raise those questions and they're not around to get the answers.
That's okay. That's why this is a uh, recording that gets uploaded to YouTube, and you know they could access the information in that way rather than live. You can do it live or you can do it pre-recorded. Um, well, it was 1913 in which Noble Jew Ali presented this flag to the Moors. It's even in the Circle 7. I'm sorry, the 101s. What does it say about the flag in the 101s? How long has this flag been flying over here in the 101s? Does anyone
uh,
recall?
10,000 years, something like
Correct.
that.
Right. This is according to the 101s. But see, when you study uh, beyond the scope of the MST of A as an example, um, you start to see where the corruption took place after his assassination in 1929, right? Uh, the truth stands out and the lies stand out as well. So you got to do research more. You can't just go by what some so-called authority might say, right? You always want to do some fact checking, right? It's a new term since COVID. We want to do some fact checking, and we have a tendency to not do that. We take organizations and spiritual leaders or leaders as a whole, their word at face value, and we don't take the time to fact check the information. And this is how we end up being bamboozled, um, hoodwinked, and led astray. Do I have a reader? Could someone read this here for me, please? Flag of Morocco. And this is just Wikipedia, right? No deep research necessary. It's first of all, this is public law. It's law, so it's public law. This is accessible anywhere. Britannica is the same information. Someone take the time to read this here for me, please.
I read it, Sultan. The flag of Morocco is the flag used by the government of Morocco and has served as the national flag of Morocco since the 17th of November, 1915. It has a
Oh,
red
pause. When? What year?
November the 1915.
Yeah. It was since 17 November 1915. Yet he supposedly brought it to the Moors in 1913. Continue reading and see what else may unveil from here. Go ahead, brother.
It has a okay. It has a red field with the green pentagram in the center. The green star represents the five pillars of Islam, and the red represents the blood of the ancestors in unity. Red has considerable historic significance in Morocco by virtue of its association with the Alawi dynasty, which used the red field as its flag. The ruling house was associated with the Islamic prophet Muhammad via Fatima, the wife of Ali, the fourth Muslim caliph.
Khalid.
Red is
Khalid.
also the caliph. Caliph. Red is also the color that was used by the Sharifs of Mecca and the Emirs of Yemen. On the 17th of November, 1915, Sultan Yusuf signed a dahir introducing the current flag design. While Morocco, under French and Spanish control, the red flag with the pentagram remained in use, but only inland. Its use at sea was prohibited. After national independence in 1956, it was allowed to also serve as the maritime flag.
It's brother. So we got design. So what did it say though? Well, on 17 November 1915, Sultan Yusuf signed a dahir introducing the current flag design, right? Because previous to that, it was what? All red. This was under what rule? We're talking 1915. What rule was it under? You already basically read it. What rule was it under? 1915. What year was the Treaty of Fez?
1812,
So then what rule was it under in 1915?
The Arab Ottoman Diamond, the Ottoman Empire.
Well, man, I just gave you the
The
answer.
French, the French,
the French.
The French.
Treaty of Fez.
That's why I asked about the Treaty of Fez, because it was the French who signed the Treaty of Fez. So it's been under French rule since 1915. So then, in that case, who was the Sultan? When that during the French protectorate, when that new flag was adopted, who was the Sultan?
Yusuf. Was it Yusuf?
Somebody said Lil Wayne.
Yeah, Lil one. I can't think
That
of
would
his name.
be no. That's Abdelaziz, and that's 1906.
Was it
More,
Yusuf?
it's on the screen. We just read it.
Was it Yusuf?
Yes, brother. Yes. I was going to get to you. I was just addressing
Okay.
brother Rashid. It
All
says it right there. On November 17, 1915, Sultan Yusuf signed the here. I'll be asking y'all these questions on
Oh
purpose.
shit, my
But
fault.
yeah, it's all good. So it was Sultan Yusuf. Which means what? What was the status of Sultan Yusuf? He was compromised.
Under French and Spanish control.
He was under their control. He was compromised. So at their request is why he signed that to here. Okay. The legal definition of the flag specifies that the colors are bright red and palm green. No more precise color specifications are known to be published. The RGB colors used in the illustration on the kingdom's website are listed below, along with rough CMYK and Pantone equivalents for printing. But let's examine something. It talked about inland versus the flags at sea, right? So it says that the use at sea was prohibited. While
Yeah.
Morocco was under French protectorate, French and Spanish control, the red flag with the pentagram remained in use, but only inland. Since its use at sea was prohibited after national after national independence in 1956, it was allowed to also serve as the maritime flag. Because at that point, what happened? The uh, Alawite dynasty. This is a better way to uh, look at it. It wasn't the Empire of Morocco or the Kingdom of Morocco that supposedly, quote unquote, gained its independence. It was the Alawite dynasty, because it was the Alawite dynasty. It was under the Alawite dynasty that the Empire of Morocco fell into the French protectorate. We'll look into that a little bit further, a little later. Let's look at the merchant ensign. Other historical flags. Somebody read this for me, please.
Islam. French protectorate in Morocco, also known as French Morocco, was the period of French colonial rule in Morocco that lasted from 1912 to 1956. The protectorate was officially established 30 March 1912 when Sultan Abd al-Hafid signed the Treaty of Fez. Though the French military occupation of Morocco had begun with the invasion of Uja and the bombardment of Casablanca in 1907. The French protectorate lasted until the dissolution of the Treaty of Fez on the 2nd of March 1956 with the Franco-Moroccan Joint Declaration. Morocco's independence movement, described in Moroccan historiography as the revolution of the king and the people, restored the exiled Mohammed V, but it did not end the French presence in Morocco. France preserved its influence in the country, including a right to station French troops and to have a say in Morocco's foreign policy. French settlers also maintained their rights and property.
Pause right there. Pause right there. Because I want to go through the flush, but let's go to the merchant ensign. This is the reason why I came here. Let's see if we can identify some information on the merchant ensign. Because what is the merchant ensign? Perhaps I should, I don't want to go through the whole story of the French protectorate. We've already done that many times. I want to focus on this flag right here. The French protectorate in Morocco. This flag, merchant ensign. Did it bring me back? I'm sorry, boys. Yeah, it brought me back. That's not where I wanted to go. At any rate, this is the flag, right? This is the flag that was allowed at sea. That's why it was called a merchant ensign. And what flag do we see in the top left corner or the canton?
French.
Mm-hmm. Status, Protectorate of France. Capital, Rabat. Official languages, French. Common languages, religion, government. So look, on the Sultan Yusuf, Muhammad V, Muhammad VI, and Muhammad V. From 1912 to 1956. Currency preceded by Sultanate of Morocco, right? Preceded by Sultanate of Morocco, succeeded by Kingdom of Morocco. And you've got the Sultanate of Morocco. What flag is that? It's all red. So I think the other section that I need to discuss is where we will find the merchant ensign. So let's go Where is it at? Where it gives you the list of all the flags. Where was it? 1 second, Morris. Let's look at list of Morocco flags. Here we are. This is the list. So this is the national flag of the current kingdom. So you got the flag of Morocco, which is the one that the Moors like to claim, right? It says a red field with a green pentagram, the five-pointed seal of Solomon, civil ensign, naval jack, royal flag. So now the royal standard. This is the royal standard, 1915 to present. Military flags. But now let's go into the history. Alawite Sultanate. What year was this Alawite Sultanate operating? What years?
1666 through 1915.
1666 through 1915. How many years is that? I don't know.
That's
Over 400.
almost 300,
Over 400.
250 years.
Was that
It's like 300 and something years, 300 and,
right? Something like
uh,
that. But what is it not? Is the real question. It's not 10,000 years, is it?
right, Islam. No, sir. So
Not
what
at
are we talking
all.
about? What are we talking about? That this flag had been flying over here for 10,000 years.
Right. The flag of Solomon.
That's absolutely incorrect. Right. So you have here 1915 and 1919, this flag, the flag that the Moors fly. And then you had 1919 and 1940 and 1945 to 1956. You had the merchant ensign, a red field with a green pentagram and a small French tricolor added in the upper hoist canton. So, anyone who's been part of the Moorish American movement for any amount of time uh, can attest to the fact that this merchant ensign with the French flag on it was never presented. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, not only that, but you also have this one, the merchant flag of Morocco under the Spanish protectorate. So you have this green uh, flag with the five-pointed white star in the top left corner. A red field with with a green field with the white pentagram, a five-pointed linear star in the canton. Republic of the Rif. Remember the Rif pirates, 1921 and 1926. Tangier International Zone, regional flag. But let's take it back though. See, it's not giving us the ancient. Perhaps I need to put that because these aren't the flags. This is not it. There's way more flags. So let's say uh ancient list of empire.
You missing the N right after the E in ancient.
Got you. They're not giving us the list. What's going on? They used to give us the list. You guys remember the scissors? See, this is the Berbers. Oh, you guys remember the scissors? You recall the checkerboards? Those are all different dynasties. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Moroccan, let's say Empire of Morocco dynasties. Perhaps it'll pull it up that way. Dynasty. How you spell dynasties. Okay, let's see what we come up with. History of Morocco. It's not wanting to give. It's not working. It's not cooperating with us. Okay, let's do it this way. We're gonna pull this up.
What about that flag right there?
Well, I want the list. Let's go here. You see, I put in Empire Morocco flag history. Let's go to image. There we go. But see, I needed the historical breakdown for each one. Look at this flag over here. You see this flag? These are all the different flags. Why is it not giving us this specific breakdown in Wikipedia? They usually do. I'm not sure why it's not doing that. You see over here on the left, it would have given all these flags. I think no, this is not it. It's stopping with the dynasty. I'm sorry, with the current kingdom. That's where it's stopping. It's not going any further. It's not going back any further. And
That's
we've
the
already
evidence that
established.
was waking up.
What was that?
Okay, can you share the one that you showed with that's similar to the one that you created already?
That's this one here.
No, the one that you with the green stripes across the middle. I mean, across the top of it, the two green
Right.
stripes
We're
that you.
gonna get into that. Let me. No, we're gonna get into that. I'm building up. Oh, we're gonna get into that. I'm just building
I,
up. I'm trying.
what I was saying, so it's a point of interest. What I was saying is that they changing things because they know we here.
Correct.
We
that's
waking up,
that's the only
man.
best way I could put it. When it's hard to find something after you done look for it and search, and then
It's
you
been
know,
there. Suddenly not there. But this is one of them,
You
the
ain't never
17th
hide it.
century. But it has it had a better breakdown, and it'll tell you the dynasties, the Alawite dynasty, the Almoravid dynasty. The Almoravid dynasty had a different flag than every other dynasty. That's you see this one here, the square version. The oldest known flag of Morocco is shown in the Libro, the whatever. The flag is supposed to have. You see, it's not. You got this flag here, and it's giving you the proper breakdown on each one, but it was a lot better on Wikipedia. This flag, you remember I was saying the one with the scissors. You see what year? It's not giving me the years. Um, hmm, they're playing games, Morris. They're playing games with the flags. Let me see. Okay. Well, at either rate, there is definitely different flags for different dynasties. Let's do this. Let's do Almoravid Empire. Uh, Almoravid dynasty. What was the flag? What year, first of all? The history. See, it was established in 1050s. In the 1050s, you see it here? Where it's highlighted? History established 1050s. This established 1147. So it went on for over 100 years or so. Government, an emir, Yahya ibn Umar, right? That's the Alawite dynasty. But where is the flag?
Now, what year
What
was
is
the
that?
Moorish flag, the Moroccan flag built, created on
What
that
was that?
same list? Was there Moroccan flag on that list?
This is the Moroccan. This is the list of the Moroccan flags, good brother. I'm going by different dynasties. So right now I'm looking for the Almoravid, the flag for the Almoravid dynasty, and it's not presenting it. Okay, let's put flag. That's it right here. So there you go, right there. That's the Almoravid flag of Almohad dynasty, which is the Almoravid dynasty. The check with the checkerboard. Okay, so at least we were able to identify the Almoravid dynasty. It's not giving. See the way it used to present it, it would present each dynasty, the history of the dynasty, along with the flag and how long they flew the flag. It's not showing us that anymore, unfortunately. Keep in mind, Morris, this is last minute. Putting this portion of the class together last minute because the other class that I was going to do, um, I have to um, course correct on certain things that I have to study it further, right? And I didn't have time to study it deep enough to present it to the class. So I had to course correct in real time. And so this is why I'm sort of all over the place trying to make up for that time that I lost in what I discovered with this particular research, in which I need to go back and do further research. Okay, so and then I'll present that again possibly next week. So what are the things that we have identified? And we'll get to your question, your brother. What are the things that we have identified?
That the Moorish
We've
flag
identified that.
wasn't over 10,000 years old, like we
Correct,
were told.
correct, right? Because if you say 10,000 years, as of 1913, then you're talking about what? The year, I mean, that's BC, really. That's going into the BC time frame. But bro, the empire has had many different dynasties at many different times. The latest dynasty was which dynasty? The Alawite dynasty, which carried the plain red flag, which then became the Kingdom of Morocco after the French Protectorate, which in 1915, and I'm not sure if the brother was here earlier, but we've already went over it. In 1915, they added the five-pointed green star to the flag. Under what sultan was that done, Morris? Let's see if you remember. Based on a Dahir. Sultan Yusuf. Just covered that. Okay, so what we're looking at now, and I'll get to your point, good brother. Morocco 2011. What is this? The Kingdom of Morocco's constitution. See it here? Please read this preamble for me, Brother Rashid.
Wow. With fidelity to its irreversible choice to construct a democratic state of law, the Kingdom of Morocco resolutely pursues the process of consolidation and of reinforcement of the institutions of a modern state, having as its basis the principles of participation, of pluralism, and of good governance. It develops a society of solidarity where all enjoy security, liberty, equality of opportunities, of respect for their dignity and for social justice, within the framework of the principle of correlation between the rights and the duties of the citizenry. A sovereign Muslim state attached to its national unity and to its territorial integrity, the Kingdom of Morocco intends to preserve in its plenitude and its diversity, its one and indivisible national identity. Its unity is forged by the convergence of its Arab, Islamist, Berber, Amazigh, and Saharo-Hassani components, which nourished and enriched by its African, Andalusian, Hebraic, and Mediterranean influences. The preeminence accorded to the Muslim religion and the national reference is consistent with Vadi Per, the attachment of the Moroccan people to the values of openness, of moderation, of tolerance, and of dialogue for mutual understanding between all the cultures and the civilizations of the world. Considering the imperative to reinforce the role which belongs to it on the international scene, the Kingdom of Morocco, active member within the international organizations, is committed to subscribe to the principles, rights, and obligations enounced in their respective charters and conventions. It affirms its attachment to the rights of man, such as they are universally recognized, as well as its will to continue to work to preserve peace and security in the world. Founded on these values and these immutable principles, and strong in its firm will to reaffirm the bonds of fraternity or cooperation or solidarity and of constructive partnership with all other states, and to work for common progress. The Kingdom of Morocco, a united state, totally sovereign, belonging to Grand Maghreb, reaffirms that which follows and commits itself to work for the construction of the Union of the Maghreb as a strategic option, to deepen the bonds of togetherness with the Arab and Islamist Ummah, and to reinforce the bonds of fraternity and of solidarity with its brother peoples, to consolidate relations of cooperation and of solidarity with the peoples in the countries of Africa, notably the sub-Saharan countries and the countries of the Sahel, to intensify relations of cooperation, of rapprochement, and of partnership with neighboring Euro-Mediterranean countries, to enlarge and to diversify its relations of amity and of its rapport with human, economic, scientific, technical, and cultural exchange with the countries of the world, to reinforce South-South cooperation, so to protect and to promote the mechanisms of the rights of man and of international humanitarian law, and to contribute to their development within their indivisibility and their universality, to ban and combat all discrimination whenever it encounters it for reason of sex or color or beliefs, of culture, of social or regional origin, of language, of handicap, or whatever personal circumstance that may be, to comply with or quarter the international conventions duly ratified by it within the framework of the provisions of the Constitution and of the laws of the kingdom, within respect for its immutable national identity, and on the publication of these conventions, their primacy over the internal law of the country, and to harmonize in consequence the pertinent provisions of national legislation. This preamble is made an integral part of this Constitution.
Pause right there. What have we learned thus far? Let's go up. Let's go up. There was a lot of a few nations, nationalities, and identities mentioned, wasn't there? Is that yes or is that a no? That's a question for the floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So paragraph 2 is an example. A sovereign Muslim state attached to its national unity and to its territorial integrity, the Kingdom of Morocco intends to preserve in its plenitude and its diversity, its one and indivisible national identity. Its unity is forged by the convergence of its Arab Islamist, Berber, Amazigh, and Saharan Hassanic components, nourished and enriched by its African, Andalusian, Hebraic, and Mediterranean influences. Okay, so these are different groups that were just mentioned. Continuing on, what else? What else was mentioned? The preeminence accorded to the Muslim religion in the national reference is consistent with the attachment of the who? Moroccan people to the values of openness, of moderation, of tolerance and dialogue, so on and so forth. So we've identified a few groups of people: Amazites, Berbers, right? Arab, Islamists, Africans, Andalusians, Hebraic, Moroccan people, modern day Moroccan people. Correct? Did anyone read anything about Negro, blacks, colored, or Moorish Americans or Moors in America?
Nope.
Nope.
So is it safe to say that this Constitution fails to protect the Moors of Al-Maghrib Al-Aqsa? Yes or no?
Yes.
So why do we
Yes.
fly the flag? This is a legal document.
Point of interest. From that read that you just read, I mean, if I may have the floor, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, you got it.
All right, praise Allah. From this read that you just read, you know what I'm saying? It made no mention about the flag. I think that's the point of interest, right? About the flag itself.
Okay.
Now, them three flags that you showed me, the first design that you showed, Sultan, was the plain red flag, right? The second flag that you showed was the French protectorate with the 5-pointed in the center, right? That flag in 1912 represented the solidarity of French and Moroccan
No,
unity.
it wasn't in 1912. It was in 1915. That's when the 5-pointed green star was added.
Okay,
Not
can you
1912.
I stand correct. Can you define the year? I'm thinking it's 1912 though, but that's when the protectorate flag was
That's when the 1912 is when the French Protectorate was established. 1915 is when the 5-pointed green star was added to the flag.
Okay. Under the authority of who? To represent what people? Not Arabs.
Sultan Yusuf.
It wasn't there to represent. I mean, that's just my portion of understanding. And I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, shed some light on this, or you know what I'm saying, because it seems like we're not representing that right. We dishonoring our mother and fathers when we do things wrong. That's all I'm trying to do is protect myself from doing things.
I just showed and proved to you, good brother. First of all, I got to get to the other part about the flag. I'm building up. The Moors got to exercise patience. I was going to get to that, but since we're taking it back, I just showed you, and I wasn't able to go down each dynasty. What you're suggesting is that each dynasty disrespected the other, because the flags changed over a period of time, but by dynasty. So the Almoravid dynasty, which has the checker flag symbol on it, the checker board on the flag, it's not the same flag or the same dynasty as the Alawite dynasty that has the plain red flag. So therefore, that means then that the Alawite dynasty disrespected the Almoravid dynasty. To your point, but that's not the case, right? Different dynasties took over and established a new regime. So this is a new dynasty, the Eyes Wide Open dynasty, who has established a new regime. But let me get back to this constitution, because you said that what we just read did not mention the flag. No, it didn't. I know it didn't. I was going to get there, but I was building up, because the first thing to recognize and understand is, are they or are they not protecting the Moors in the West? That's the bottom line. That's what matters the most. Who is protecting us or not protecting us? Well, this preamble to a legal document known as a constitution identifies all these other peoples. That's what I was pointing out. But it didn't point out or identify Negroes, blacks, coloreds, Moorish Americans, Moors in America, Moors of the West, Moors of Al-Maghrib, Al-Aqsa, something that absolutely identifies us. So we've already proven by their constitution that they're not protecting the Moors of the West. Now, what the next step is to go to Article 4 to identify what flag are they claiming. Brother Rashid, could you read Article 4, please?
Article 4. The emblem of the state is the red flag stamped in its center with a green star of 5 points, branches. The motto of the kingdom is Dieu
la patrie, la roi is some French, but it's God, the country, the king. But that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
What's relevant to the brother's point? Because he said the preamble didn't mention it. No, it wasn't mentioned in the preamble. You're absolutely correct. What article was it mentioned, though? Article 4. So I was going to get to that. Right?
Point of interest. And respecting that fine. I see that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not confused about it. But I'm looking at the deception as well, too. Because
what deception are you referring to?
Okay, I want to ask this question to the floor, anybody that want to answer. What landmass are we standing on?
We're in Morocco.
Okay. What flag, what flag at that time was not the one we talking about now? That flag was created in 1915 to represent who?
The Empire of Morocco under the French Protectorate.
I'm talking about the plain red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center.
The French Protectorate, it represents the French Protectorate. You said it represents who? It represents the Empire of Morocco under the French Protectorate.
I'm talking about the red flag with the 5-pointed green star. I'm not talking about the one with the white, the red and white, white and blue stripes on the top.
That's he's talking about.
Hold on. Let's go to it.
Ain't the Sheik on the line? I mean, he can speak up in regards to the flag if I'm speaking out of turn about it. That's
no. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Relax. Let's go to it. Let's get to this is the flag that we're talking about right here. Let me blow it all the way up. Is this the flag we're talking about?
Okay, that's the flag. The represent
Okay. Now,
misrepresentation. How can you take a dynasty flag, an empire flag that represent another nation of people and take it somewhere else? You don't see the deception. Praise Allah. I use that.
well,
Go ahead.
the deception on whose part?
On their part, the United States and the fake Sultan of 1956. They
It's not a
moved.
fake. It's not a fake sultan. He's an official sultan, and the United States has nothing to do with this. Let's get our concepts correct. If there's anyone conducting any sort of a deceptive campaign, it would be the French government, brother. It's under the French protectorate, so it has nothing to do with the United States. It was under the French, adopted when, brother? Please read what year was it adopted?
17 November 1915.
1915, good brother.
110 years ago.
So that that 5-pointed green star that you're talking about was added to the red flag in 1915. But it's still
okay. Can we
hold on, brother. No. When I'm done, I'll yield. So again, this is the Alawite dynasty. So the Alawite dynasty was, to your point, deceived by the French government, trick-bagged. Why did that happen? Because in 1904, there was a loan issued to the Empire of Morocco. On the surface, they would tell you by Great Britain and Spain. But in reality, it was by the French banking magnates. Okay? Who was the Sultan of that time? His name was Abdelaziz, the young Sultan who took the throne after his father passed away, and he was only 16 years old. This is why and how they so easily bamboozled him, because he was a young sultan, like of 16 years old. That's what's wrong with a monarchy, by the way. But that's beside the point. So you're correct. Yeah, there was a deception, but we still got to understand the proper concept and context of the matter. Even with the 5-pointed green star added to the plain red flag, it was still based on the Alawite dynasty. So the Alawite dynasty is the dynasty that fell into the traps of the French protectorate. And it carried on all the way until 1956. So if there's a deception, it's not, it has everything to do with the French subverting the Alawite dynasty. But who are the Alawite dynasty? That's the next question. Noble Drew Ali said that the Moors are the founders and true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. Why did he have to use the word present? To qualify the Moors being the founders and true possessors of the Moroccan Empire. Why did he have to say present? Because in the present moment, it was being colonized, or it had been taken over, let's say, taken over. That's a more proper politically correct term, because it was, you can't really say colonized. It was taken over by who? What group of people took the office of the Sultan from the Empire of Morocco under the Alawite dynasty? What group of people? The Arabs.
The Arabs.
The pale Arabs. So how long has the Alawite dynasty been in operation? Did we not discuss that? What year did the Alawite dynasty came into the fold? Does anyone recall? We are very forgetful. 1666. Y'all remember that now? Yes or no?
Yes,
I
sir.
don't.
Well, those who were here earlier.
I do. We just went over it.
We just went over it. That's interesting. We just went over it. So the Alawite dynasty came into the picture in 16. Was that?
I said I seen the year that you talking about. I just can't confirm it because I wasn't for sure if that was actually what I was seeing.
Yeah, it
or
was
calling the numbers off.
Correct. So you came in at the right time, or around the time in which we were pointing this out. So they came into the picture in 1666 up until 1956, and it's still the Alawite dynasty as the kingdom. So you see the transition. The flags changed, the statuses changed. It went from a red flag to now a flag with a green flag, pointed 5 stars, a 5 pointed green star in the middle. And let's see if anyone remembers where could it be flown and where could it not be flown based on the French protectorate. See, the French is now they're now giving rules now. They're governing the where it can and cannot fly. Where can it fly? Where can
It
it
can
not
only
fly?
be flown on land,
It
not
could
at
only be flown
sea.
on land. And when was it now able to fly on land and maritime?
That was
In 1956,
56, yes.
when they declared their independence.
supposedly. But it was the Alawite dynasty, not so much so the empire. It became a kingdom under the Alawite dynasty, in which now the government became um, obsolete. There was no government. So therefore, the state went into a shallow grave, right? And then they moved on with a new modern state, as it's stated in the preamble, a modern state. But what I'm pointing out is someone got to mute themselves. I think it's you, brother, from Bay State Republic, brother James Crew, Islam, um, or yeah. Um, so the Alawite dynasty, by on in its own, had changed different statuses over that period of time. That means also too that Sidi Muhammad, under the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, was under the Alawite dynasty. Where was it? Was the Alawite dynasty always Arab, meaning that they had been circumventing the Sultanate since 1666, or did the Alawite dynasty start off as a Moorish dynasty, and at some point in that time period they took over the Sultanate? I don't know, but what we do know is that these are the Pale Arabs under the dynasty whose flag changed and their sovereignty changed. The empire started to fall under the Alawite dynasty. The Alawite dynasty uh, is who uh, uh, destroyed the empire, for a lack of better terms. It had to go through colonialism under the French, which then brought about changes in the flag. And then now, finally, it buried the state. And then they moved on with a new country called the Kingdom of Morocco. So the hijack is deeper than the French. It's the French and the Arabs. But the point being, though, is that the Constitution for the Kingdom of Morocco does not protect or uphold or honor or even recognize the true Moroccans, those who are the founders and the true possessors of the Moroccan Empire. So we don't get no props. We don't get no kind of honorable mention. But they do. They're just using misnomers. Misnomers that are designated to the Moroccan Kingdom of Morocco's jurisdiction. What are the misnomers? Let's go back to it. What are the misnomers for the same people? Amazigh, Berbers, right? Where is it at? Up here. Berber, Arab, Islamist, Berber, Amazigh, Saharan, Hassanic, African, Andalusian, Hebraic. What's the, just say Moors. But if you say Moors, now you got to include those Moors in the West. So the hijack wasn't directly at us. It was indirectly at us. The confirmation of the final blow was directed at us. At us. That was after 1956. And then they proceeded to establish this constitution that did what? Took the flag. So the issue here, brother James, and everyone else, Now that we have a new dynasty, that's why I keep pointing out the dynasties. Dynasties kept changing over a long period, over 10,000 years. So the empire may have been over here for 10,000 years, but not that flag that's currently recognized by the Kingdom of Morocco as their flag. That we were taught that Noble Drew Ali brought over here in 1913. So we were taught now. We weren't taught 1915, we were taught 1913. And then we were also taught that that flag flew over here for 10,000 years. No, the people, the empire, the state have been an ancient nation for the past 10,000 years. But the dynasties had changed over a period of time. And with the dynasty, the changing of the dynasty, so did the flags change. So we looked and we saw that the Almoravid dynasty had a checkerboard flag. We see that the Alawite dynasty had a plain red flag, which I've seen many pictures of dark-skinned Moors flying the plain red flag. So I'm thinking that the Alawite dynasty originally were the dark-skinned Moors. And at some point in between is when the pale Arabs came in. But then we could also Abdul Aziz looked like Lil Wayne. He looks like a Moor. So now we have the Alawite dynasty. That one crashed. See, one crashed, the other one is reestablished. The other one is crashed, the other one is reestablished. So what is the new dynasty? And what is the new dynasty to do with the flag? Should we hold on to the old? Try to revive the old? Should we enter into some sort of diplomatic dispute with the Kingdom of Morocco over a flag that it was established under the French protectorate anyway? It's not like it was a Moor who put the 5-pointed green star on there, which it probably was, because when we're talking about the French and we're talking about the time period 1912, etc., we're still talking about Moors in power, because William II of Germany came to the defense of the Empire of Morocco, the Emperor of Germany, 1905, and he was a dark-skinned Moor. So let's be mindful of the phenotypes that we apply to these people in our minds. They might be Moors, French Moors, Boule type Moors, foreign Boule Moors, Islam. So now there's a new dynasty. I don't know what to call it. Moroccan dynasty? I don't know. I've been working on that. I've been trying to figure out what dynasty can we call this dynasty, because this is the new dynasty. So we're following tradition. A dynasty crash, the flag goes away with it. The new dynasty comes, a new flag comes with it. The next dynasty, then that dynasty crashes, then that flag goes away, a new dynasty comes in, a new flag comes in. Okay, so the Alawite dynasty has crashed, became a kingdom, took their little flag with them, their little French flag, have it. So now there's a new dynasty. Okay. Islam. This is the new dynasty.
Islam. This is our dynasty.
Oh,
Islam.
Somebody read Exhibit E, please. And that's not even the complete description, but we'll roll with that and I'll add to it. Please read the description of this flag.
Exhibit E, Moroccan Empire flag. Description. The flag for all Moorish nationals is and shall remain the red canopy with the green 5-pointed star, which represents love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The green stripe on the top represents international law, while the green stripe on the bottom represents Moroccan law. This is the mother of flags and evidence and declaration of our natural descent to this land, the Moroccan Empire.
Period. A new dynasty, a new people. What is special about this dynasty? I want to know if you guys are paying attention to the structure. I just gave you a hint. The structure. What is so special about this dynasty? It really required a new flag.
Moors created it.
No, that's not special. Because guess what? That's the Moors created the empire, period. Right? So that's just
Right.
what it is, right? No, there's
Right.
something very special about it that's unique that never existed before in previous dynasties.
The
Thing?
laws on the top and the
It, it,
bottom.
it
No.
was re-emerged and rebuilt by the future generation.
No.
See,
Sorry.
yeah, Rahaz.
It
Sultan and the
has
people are one.
Oh, somebody said something, and I wasn't even talking about that.
The
But
Sultan
feminine,
and the people are one.
not that, brother.
the
Someone said something
see,
about this. Go ahead.
Islam, Islam. I'm on my way transition, family. I just tapped in. Yeah, the say Haraz, the feminine part of the branch of the government.
Okay. I wasn't talking about that at all, but that's part B. So 1A and 1B. I'm looking for 1A. So yes, that's one unique aspect is that is
a
the legislative
constitution.
branches.
More national.
No, 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 no. We okay, the answer to this question, I'm gonna give you a hint. The answer to this question is found in the fact that we have solved the problem of having a young sultan. Oh, now you know the answer. What's the answer?
Oh, no, it's not. Be not a monarch.
It's not a monarchy. That's what's special and different and unique, as well as that the legislative branch is held by the matriarchs only. Those two things makes us distinct from every other dynasty. Period. So it called for a new flag.
So
This is not.
it's basically proof of the consequences thereof, right?
You can say that. So it's not a monarchy, meaning that it's a democratic republic in which I, Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, as Sultan of the Empire of Morocco, have a term limit, and my son can't be no heir. Who is the successor to the Sultan?
The prime minister.
The prime minister, not my son. You see, who are the only ones that can be sultan?
Wazir.
What else?
Male.
What else goes along
Male.
with that qualification?
Male.
What else goes along with that qualification?
Must be a wazir for 5 years.
But yeah,
There you go.
5 years.
4-year terms.
4 years.
So you have to be a wazir for 4 years, and you have to be a male to preserve the equilibrium, the balance of the three branches, whereas the legislative branch is only matriarchs.
Mhm.
Plus, also, it's His Majesty, so law is specific. According to the treaty, it's his. So Yusuf, Abdulaziz, Hassan the First, Sidi Muhammad, right? They're all Muhammad the Fifth, all male. It's historical precedents regarding the empire and the sultanate. So I have a 7-year term limit. I got 5 years to go. I just had to tell them more of that. If you don't like me, I mean, you have your right to self-determination. You have your right to feel the way you feel. But a coup d'etat ain't gonna work. I'm too sharp for that. You ain't gonna just remove me because you don't like me. You gonna wait your turn. You gonna wait the 5-year term limit to be up, and then you'll have a chance to vote me out. Everyone that hates Trump, they gotta wait for the 4-year limit to be up. But they're doing the same thing. They're not patient. They want to impeach him and all this stuff, right? Making up stories and doing 34 felony counts when it's one violation with 34 entries, and you just made that to be 34 felonies. The foolishness, the foolery, the corruption. When you look at it with the proper eyes, it becomes it becomes hilarious. You know, things that are patently frivolous, arbitrary, and capricious are actually funny. Because you just all you can do is laugh. Are you saying that the Sultan, the head of state, tried to seize power from himself? That's Cartoon Network vibes right there. That's Adult Swim. It's foolishness. It's tomfoolery. So for you to say, oh well, it's 34 counts of felony charges on one entry, that's tomfoolery, and people fall for this stuff. Oh yeah, that's 34 felonies. They parrot it, and it's like, bro, it's like one entry. And they all were given 34 different entries on one particular infraction, 34 entries on one infraction. That's the 34 felonies. I'm thinking he did robbery, this, that, and the third, all these things. And it was actually a misdemeanor. I'm just making a point here. People get weird when his name come up. That's why I don't even want to say his name. We could call him Orange Man if you'd like to. Let's keep it real on matters.
I disagree.
Understood. So now when it comes on to the empire, right? And the forward progress of the empire, right? What are we to do? Get into a diplomatic dispute with the kingdom over a flag? Or should we follow the historical precedents? We're in alignment with the historical precedents. Again, one dynasty falls, the flag goes away, another flag, another dynasty comes, a new flag reemerges. Now, let me say this for the record. I'm a absolute, I don't want to say I'm not going to use the word follower or the word fan, but I would say that I have the utmost respect, adoration, reverence, and honors for the Holy Prophet Noble Jew Ali, without a doubt. We have to make something clear. Noble Jew Ali is merely a man who was a revolutionary, a warrior, a courageous warrior. His title, according to the MSD of A, was prophet. The title of a prophet, even according to the rudder and the sextant, the title of a prophet is subordinate to the sultan. Throughout the time that Noble Jew Ali was operating, there was a sultan of the Empire of Morocco. Whether he is a potential pale Arab or not, he was still our sultan. You see? So we also have to consider that the MSDFA is an organization. Not only is an organization and not a state, but it's an organization that also got corrupted. In which now we have a three-way split. 3 different Temple 1s, 3 different Temple 2s, and then you add a bonus split, which is the Nation of Islam. Everyone took his information and just went crazy with it, meaning that his information is not in the pristine condition. So this movement is not predicated on the MSDFA or Noble Jew Ali's literature. This movement is absolutely predicated on what?
International law.
And what else?
Treaties.
Treaty law, Moroccan law.
International law, right? And Moroccan law, right? And where is that? Hold on a second. And where is that highlighted?
And the Al Sheriff.
No. Where is it highlighted? And what is our state emblem?
Oh,
it's highlighted
in
on the
our
top stripe and the bottom stripe, man, on the flag.
Yeah, bottom stripe.
Okay.
It's enshrined, it's embedded in the flag. So this movement is predicated and led by law, international law, and Moroccan law. Subsequently, international law, the studies of international law, the studies and understanding of international law and Moroccan law gives credence to Noble Jew Ali's information. It hits different when you go back and you study it with a new set of lenses. Now, someone got brother James, you got to mute yourself, please. You got new lenses now. What does Noble Jew Ali refer to that as? When you have new lenses, he referred to that. He alluded to that. What did he say? Because this is the group that represents the new dynasty. Those with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. That's a new lens. Those are new lenses. Eyes wide open, seeing and knowing. Those are new lenses. And so being as though that it's international law and Moroccan law, ancient law, that's leading this movement. That's why it's on the flag, and B, why it's not predicated on an individual and an organization. Now we can always go back and utilize, as I've stated, you can go back and you see his information as much different than what you would have thought it was with the old lenses. And it can be used as a means to educate the Moors, to even confirm that there's corruption that took place within the amnesty of A. Because we already know his office was ransacked. And his literature, so you got to put yourself on mute, good brother. I don't know how we end up off mute. It's crazy. His information was removed. So if his information was removed, then what had to happen in order for the movement to carry on?
Point is the move. I mean, what you said is
brother. Let me do this. Let me say this, and let me say this for the whole floor.
Please say it for the whole floor.
And I hope I make myself clear. You know, if I'm in the middle of making a point, please allow me to make the point. It's not point of interest. Usually means point of interest with a pause. Because then that person would say, okay, you can have the floor. Not point of interest and you jump in. That's not how it works. That lacks decorum. That lacks professionalism. In case you guys have not noticed, when I'm done, I always yield the floor. So this class, especially when I'm conducting it, is going to require professionalism and it's going to require patience. Because I have the tendency to have to over-explain because the Moors have a tendency to not get it. So if I end up being somewhat long-winded, I require your patience because I'm trying to clarify something for the Moors, because if I do it in a short manner, they might not get it because half the times they don't get it. So I have to be detailed with the explanation. That's because this is a class. And it requires decorum. I yield to you, brother. What is it that you have to say?
Praise honest to his father, never draw leave. All these, I mean, I'm hearing everything that you're saying. You're saying that it was tampered with, everything. I understand that. I understand that to the fullest, right? And it was a bunch of dirty Moors that did it. But the truth is still going to remain in there. It's not going to, you can't make no lie without having the truth behind it, first and foremost. Something got to, truth got to be, falsehood got to be based off that truth. Now, the truth now, in representation, and honoring the prophet and representing them, you know what I'm saying, according to the way I was instructed, when he gave that question about the red flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center, he said, what color is the Moorish flag? It's a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. That ain't no lie. That's true. But the point I'm trying to make about the flag is I ain't gonna say no one individual. I don't know who did it, but we allowed them to take that flag over there and misdirect the people. Now you ask unconscious Asiatis right now, is this Morocco? They're gonna tell you now. You talking about the kingdom of Morocco? With that idea.
So let me ask you this. What year did the 101s come out? When he said that the Moorish flag was the 5-pointed green star and all that. What year did the 101s come out?
1913, when he built the temple.
I don't know how many times I got to say the same thing here.
Okay. Moorish Holy Temple of Science was created in 1925.
Brother, I know when it was created. You answered my question. Let me get to the point. Again, in 1913, we're told several things. That the Moorish flag is the flag with the 5-pointed green star in the center. We're also told in 1913, supposedly, that same flag has been flying for 10,000 years. And you keep standing your square on that. Now, I've just showed and proved for the floor that all that was a bold-faced lie. Period. So it's not true. Is it Noble's fault? No. But the point is that it's not true. The flags, for 10,000 years, there has been many different flags, many different dynasties. The flag, the five-pointed green star added onto the red flag wasn't until when, Moors?
1915.
So why are we talking about this is true and it was stated in 1913? It's clearly
Okay.
a lie. But to your point, though, truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
Thank you.
But that never was the Moorish flag. That was the French protectorate flag. We didn't have a flag. You still want to make the point that we had a flag? You still want to make the point that we had a flag, good brother?
That's right. That flag been flying over here for over 10,000 years, like the Papa said. We got to understand that. In 1492, when
no, it has not. No, it has not.
Okay. Can anybody on this line prove that?
Can anybody, after the French
Can you prove it? You prove it. What is your reference point?
Hold on. Whoa. Pause. This is horrible. I don't do this. This is not what we do. We're not going to be over talking and yelling. We ain't doing all of that. Brother, let me just say it like this, and then we're going to move on. We're just going to move on because it's not getting through to you. This flag has not been flying over here for no 10,000 years. No one flag has been flying over here for 10,000 years. I'll say it again. What is the deal with comprehension? As the dynasties changed, the flags changed. The Almoravid dynasty had a checkerboard on it. The Alawite dynasty was just simply plain red. And now the modern Moroccan dynasty is flying the flag that you see on the screen with the two stripes. The top stripes represents what, Moors?
International law.
And the bottom stripe represents what?
Moroccan law.
And that's
Moroccan
the bottom
law.
line. And that's the bottom line. Moving on. This is the new dynasty. This is the new flag. And furthermore, there's more to break down on the flag because the red obviously represents the blood of the people. But then what does green represent?
Thank you.
What does green represent?
The olive tree. The olive branch.
Who else? Who else?
And the seal of Solomon.
Okay. Who else? And what else? Not who else, but what else?
I mean, what you looking for?
I'm looking for others to answer the question. You answered your portion. I'll give you the answer if no one else can answer it.
Love, peace, truth, freedom, and justice.
Let's use common sense, Morris.
Light photosynthesis.
Let's use common sense. It's green. The color is green. So what would you attribute green to?
Money.
The land.
Thank you. So the red is the blood of the people. The red is the land. And also, you could also go into the oxidation of the Moors, right? The copper-colored people who turn, when you oxidize copper, it turns what? Green. What else do you see in the flag? There's another color in the flag. What color do you see?
Black.
Okay. What does that represent?
I don't know.
Remembrance. It represents remembrance.
Oh, Sankofa.
It represents remembrance. Because the time is coming, Moors, when we'll be wealthy again. We'll be on top again. Don't get too big for your britches. Remember what it was like being what? Black. Remembrance. This is a red, black, and green flag, by the way. The black represents remembrance. It's there as a means to remind us that when we get back into power, we must uphold and maintain our nobility. Because if we don't, and we violate universal and divine law as it relates to human rights, you're going right back to being black again. And remember the ghettos, remember the poverty, remember the drugs, remember the jail and the prison system, remember the bad foods. That's what black represents on the flag. Remembrance. Islam. So that's the current eyes wide open dynasty of the Empire of Morocco. So the Kingdom of Morocco can keep their French flag. That's a French flag, Moors. It's not a Moorish flag. It's a French flag. Unfortunately, it is what it is. That's what it is. If there was a Moorish flag, would have been the all red flag. That was the Moorish flag. They corrupted it with the 5-pointed green star. I've seen too many images, ancient images of Moors horseback riding, going to war with flying the red flag and other flags around it. Okay. What legation, and you might not be able to answer this, but I'm gonna give y'all a shot. What legation flew the red flag above its building? If you guys recall, what's a legation? There was a legation that flew the red flag in honor of the Moorish Empire. The legation or foreign, remember, is where the foreign mission or the mission of a foreign country would have its station in Morocco in the diplomatic body.
Was it the French legation?
No, it was the German legation.
German legation.
The Germans would fly the big red flag on the top of their building. That was the Moorish flag. That was the Moorish flag. And then in 1915, the French, when they came in with their protectorate, i.e. their French colonial era, they added the 5-pointed green star. It's beautiful that it represents the seal of Solomon, but it wasn't done by the Moroccans. It was done by the French. Now, I'll say it again. What French? Pale French or the French Moors? I'll leave that up for your own determination, because I can tell you unequivocally. I can tell you William II of Germany in 1905. Unequivocally, I can tell you he was a Moor. His entire brigade were Moors, dark-skinned people with fezzes and turbans. The French government in that time period probably was a black man. All of these are French. All these countries were started by Moors. Russia was started by Moors. Germany was started by Moors. These are all Moorish countries. What they call the European powers, those are Moorish countries in its inception. What happened down the line? I don't know. To where we now have Emmanuel Macron, King Charles III. But we knew about King George III, the man with the afro. So how we transitioned from King George III with an afro to now this albino European pale person. Well, we can say the same for the French. So the French that put the flag, the 5-pointed green star on the flag, I can't say if it was a Moor. I can't say if it was what you would say pale European. What we can say is that he wasn't Moroccan by national standing of the Empire of Morocco. He was a foreign Moor by way of status, political allegiance. So you had Moors that had political allegiance to the French government against the Empire of Morocco. I hope I shed some good enough light on the flag, our new dynastic flag that's under a democratic republic, as opposed to the previous dynasties that were based in a monarchy. What else is unique about it? The legislative branch is composed of only matriarchs. by law. And this is where we now derive, this is from where we derive a brand new flag to show the world. So the Kingdom of Morocco can have their French flag. We got a new and improved modern flag for a modern state with a modern people, because we're not the same people from before. We are a new group of Moors. Moors. We're not the same ancient Moors. We have been we have we have assimilated everyone, because everyone in our absence has assimilated us. So we became more connected to humanity than we ever were before, because never before did we experience being at the bottom. Everyone else was at the bottom. So we got a chance to see and experience what other nationalities, other peoples have experienced while we were reigning supreme. And that's why I said the black represents remembrance, so as to never go back to the black status. Any questions, comments, concerns regarding the flag? I yield.
Point of interest. I like how it's broken down so beautifully on that part, because I ain't gonna lie, I did forget that part, honestly. So I'm glad that we had that clarification about that.
What
That's
part?
it. About the black and the flag.
Okay. It's
About
fine.
the never forgetting, because that's the beautiful part about it. We can't forget. And why some of us, where I hear a lot of Moors, we frustrated about our condition, but like you said, we got to realize how it happened and it started with us. So we can't just point the finger, because when you point the finger, you got a couple more coming back at you. And I yield with that.
Point of interest.
Islam, well said. Go ahead, Brother James.
Okay. To try to, I sent you and Brother Kilbay that flag that I pulled up. I think it was 1795 to 1915, right? The flag that this is in the the Solomon Star flag of Morocco, 1795, 1915. I sent it to Valerie and everybody else that was in Missouri, and plus the Prime and the Sultan, just for everybody to take a look at. When we talking about, what I'm saying, this flag, and then when it was created, of course, things change. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make is a flag symbolizes an entire nation of people, and it represents something entirely united with us. It's tied to us. And for, what I'm saying, it's just my portion of understanding. You know what I'm saying? My portion of understanding is not the supreme understanding. I'm not saying that. I'm just drawing off what I'm seeing. See? I'm not confused or misguided. Nor neither am I trying to misguide nobody else, because decolonization is a must. And the correct, verification about the prophet's teachings, that wasn't a religious text. First and foremost, we got to understand that. It wasn't a religious text. It was a political document, misguided by people, misunderstood by people, because they start adding things to it, and then they start giving their opinion about what it was. Like the Sultan said, when you read the Circle 7 and its literature and everything that he brought, then you come back and you read international law, you're going to see this thing entirely different. Trust me, I do. With that, I yield.
Point of interest.
So you bring up, go ahead, somebody, whoever had the point of interest. Go ahead.
This Chief Justice Tyrone. I just want to come back off what he was saying, and I want to interject that the American flag, in which everybody pledges allegiance to, is actually the war flag. So if you want to talk about misconcepts, that's definitely a misconcept, because that's not the actual Republican flag,
Point of interest. And I'm going to piggyback off you with that by saying that, yeah, that American flag is actually a banner, which they admit in their song. They Star Spangled Banner, to be technical, because they already admitted that. But just moving forward with the flag situation, like the Sultan was trying to clarify, is that we moving forward basically in our own light because we got it. I can deal with that. Islam.
Islam. The brother brought up the flag again. So we'll pull it up. We'll look for it. 1795. Is this the flag you're referring to, Brother James? Is that the flag you're
Yes,
referring to?
sir. Yes, sir.
1795 to
Yes, sir.
1915? You breaking up
19,
really bad.
1795. My bad.
Okay.
Six,
1795 to 1915, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so what is your point that you're making with this particular flag?
I mean, that's the Moorish, Moroccan flag, right? That's the Moorish flag, right?
I mean, yeah, 1795, 1915. But I thought, but hold
I'm
on, hold on,
saying,
hold on. I thought it was the five. I thought it was the 5-pointed green star, though. This is the 6-pointed star. So which one are we talking about? Because now you're confusing me. Because we were talking about the flag that Noble Drew Ali brought, which is the 5-pointed green star.
yes, sir. I
So now,
definitely
but
see.
this is the uh, six-pointed green star. You see, but you see how it changes. Now, what? Now you're absolutely correct. A flag is very important. It represents a nation of people. You're absolutely correct about that. And that's the reason why this is the flag that represents the new Moors with their eyes wide open, the new nation of people. That's it. That's all. So it's good to know the history, and it's important to know the history. But we also got to have the proper understanding as to why uh, the history changed with us. The same way the history changed between one dynasty to the next, same thing here between the Alawite. And mind you, that there was a huge pause from 1956 to 2024 in between. It wasn't a smooth transition. It was a pause. It was, they're dead, lost at sea. They're not moored to the land. So we got to moor ourselves to the land. That's what Noble Drew Ali did with the 101s. The Moors was lost at sea in the cares of the world. He moored us, or he's showing us that we need to moor ourselves to the land. So he's stepping out of the sea to the rock of salvation, the land. Morocco. That's Article 15. So in your naturalized status, you're lost at sea. You're not moored to the land. That's why the Moroccan nationality was deemed obsolete and without effect, because you're now Negro, blacks, coloreds, African Americans. To come back home now, which is to come out of the sea onto the land, you have to repatriate back to the Empire of Morocco. So we needed to reinstate the government so that we can have the administration in place, right, available, so that the naturalized Moors who are lost at sea can now moor themselves back to the land, i.e., repatriate back to Morocco. So it requires a friendly application. It requires an application. You got to apply. You don't just go to a country and say, I want to be this, and they say, okay. No, you got to apply. There's a vetting process. I want to be Chinese. No, it doesn't work like that. I'm just gonna move. I'm just gonna fly to China and tell the embassy I'm Chinese now. It doesn't work that way. You have to submit an application. So the Moroccans, the Moorish subjects, have to submit an application to the government of the empire. See, the government needed to be in place in order for the repatriation process to take place. Because otherwise, who else was going to do it? There is no government. What government? What the government represents the representatives elected by the people. The trustees. I'm the trustee of the Moorish estate. You guys trust me to be the trustee. You see, to govern matters regarding the empire and our trust, uh, based on the will of the people and to the benefit and the protections of the people. That's what you're trusting me to do. You trusted me to have the proper mindset, the proper state of mind, and the proper competence to deal with things such as coup d'etats. And I think I just demonstrated what I'm capable of, right? And I think I showed him what I'm capable of too. I bet you he'll never try that with me again, but he'll never have the chance anyway. The point being, though, good brother, is that seasons change, right? And seasons change, the sun changes. The flag is our sun. The season has changed, and now we got a new flag. And uh, it's important to give erudition and backstory because from that knowledge and understanding is where we will arrive at a place of pride versus dissent. Because I know a lot of Moors have a certain level of dissent. Like, man, that's not the flag that Noble Ali brought. Okay, but still, the representation was incorrect anyway, because it was stated that it flew for 10,000 years and it was 1913 and all that was incorrect. It's been different dynasties. And the 5-pointed green star was applied in 1915. Islam. So, and again, this is not to say that he misguided us. What I'm saying is that after he passed away, we were led astray. It was corrupted. So I deal with that. Any other comments or questions regarding the flag or anything else?
I would like to comment.
Yes.
Thank you so much for enlightening me. I have learned a great deal. I have been so enlightened. Thank you so much for your time.
You're absolutely welcome, sister. That's what I was hired to do. Right? That's what the Moors elected me to do. I'm just doing my job. But thank you nonetheless for the honors.
Point of interest.
Yes.
I would just like to say to the Moors, you have to really examine the flags too. Some look alike, some may appear to be alike, but like that one he was talking about was a 6-pointed star, and it went down to a 5-pointed star, which that represents something. The 6-pointed one represents something to somebody else. Then it came in with the 5-pointed star. So you have to examine the stars, examine your flags.
This is why this flag does represent the Moors because that's the Star David.
Solomon Star flag
right.
of Morocco.
So I will 1 second. What does the two real quick? What does the two triangles represent? They're superimposed on one another, one pointing up, one pointing down. What do those two? What is the science that represent that diagram represents?
High and low.
As above, so below.
As above, as above, so below. Exactly.
So below.
I yield. Someone had a point of interest.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that correction, Sergeant, on that flag and that seal. You know what I'm saying? That is the seal of Solomon. And I think the 5-pointed was mentioned that it was the Star of David, and the 5 points represent love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. With that, I yield.
Yeah, and theirs represent something else. Forgot what they mentioned, but it's not. When it was presented or placed on the flag, it didn't have the same meaning. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It had another. We just read it. I don't want to have to go back and try to find it. You can go back to rewind back. It was mentioned earlier, but for the Moorish purposes, it's love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You see, but again, we needed to. We definitely needed a new flag. We needed a fresh start. We needed something new, and made all credit due to the same seditious one, J. Bay. He's the one who designed that flag. I'm the one who added. So we had a debate, a professional political debate amongst all the Moors. We presented two flags when it was the WRC before the Empire. I'm pretty sure the Prime Minister recalls. It was me who snuck in. It's always good to give two options, two choices. So we presented two choices. One of them was one option was no black borders, and then the second option was the black borders. The second option with the black borders, that came from me. That was my idea to add the black borders, make it faint, not so obvious, right? But you can see it. And it wasn't just that as an idea, by the way. what I was thinking, and I had to sell the Moors on this one. I sold this flag. So the debate was between the two flags, the one without the black border and the one with the black border. So as the chairman, I'm like, I pitched my reasons as to why we should go with the one with the black, and which was the remembrance part, and that got through, and everyone voted for this one, because of the remembrance part. But what else does it represent, though? What is somebody say the colors loud, and then tell me what does it also represent? Say the colors out loud. And I hope you say it in its proper order, because if we don't, it's not going to work. But say the colors out loud.
Red, green, and black.
Red,
No,
black, and
and wrong answer. Somebody else.
Green, black, and red.
And has anyone ever heard of the term RBG?
Oh,
Has anyone ever heard of Marcus Garvey, the UNIA? Has anyone ever heard of the Pan African Movement?
Yep,
yes.
I heard of it. I
What is
heard
the
of it.
color of what is the color of the flag?
It was
red, black, and green.
Red, black,
Black,
and green,
Black
boys. Come
and
on, man.
green.
yeah, yeah.
black.
I'm sorry, I was trying to come off mute, but I'm here with the kids too at the same time. They yelling, but you were absolutely correct.
The Black Liberation Movement, man. The real BLM.
Mm-hmm.
Not Black Lives Matter. Black Liberation Movement.
Mm-hmm.
BLM, Black Lives Matter, is a hijack from the real movement. It was the Black Liberation Movement. It was represented by the red, black, and green flag. That's also why I put it in. It was a subliminal uh, uh, to basically, it was a subliminal to be absorbed by the psyche and the subconscious minds of our fellow red, black, and green Moors. just a little something, a little spell casting to bring
That's
them back,
smooth.
to bring them back
That-
to the proper understanding, knowledge of self. So that's the other reason for the red, black, and green Islam Moors.
I love
That's
it.
point of interest. Now about Marcus Garvey, do you know if that's a true statement where they said he went and visited Noble Drew Ali went and visited him when they put him in prison?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a true story. Cujo Adwo Ale of Canaan Land, he did a presentation on that with reference points to back up the claim. So that was for sure. There's actually uh, records of of those visits, and that's why he was deported, by the way, to Jamaica, because
Yeah.
Oh,
he was getting too close to Noble Drew Ali, and a lot of the UNIA members became members of the NOI of the MST of it. So yeah, he's considered John the Baptist, the forerunner to Noble Drew Ali. So
that's
there's
what
some
I
Yes,
was
sir.
getting at. That's what I was going to ask you later after that. That's what I was getting at. Okay, Islam. Thank you.
Mhm. And that's why it's red, black, and green, the flag, with the subtle black. So it's subtle, everything is subtle, so you're not going to see it as red, black, and green, but you do see the colors in there, without a doubt, nonetheless. And the colors are still representative of the same. In the red, black, and green flag, the red represents the blood of the people, the green represents the land, and the black represents the people. But that's obviously that's obviously incorrect, but you get the point. So that was more to
And
the backstory of this particular flag. There's more to it than meets the eye, and I'm trying to. This class was to bring clarity to all that. Go ahead, brother.
you know what I'm saying, add credit, I mean, to the forerunner part for as Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm saying, this representation of the people and the unifying of the people was a beautiful thing, praise all. Now,
Yeah.
his representation as a flag and representing the people was completely, you know what I'm saying, to me, out of line. This is what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to straighten out. Because it wasn't about going back to Africa movement. See, the Pan-African flag, it wasn't about that. It more you at home. You ain't got to go nowhere. You at home. And then he sent that to Wilson, and then I'm going to end on this note, in 1912, asking for the release of that Moorish flag that Washington chopped down. Now, I don't know if it's folktale or nothing, but the letter, if you type it in, it's on up what it is. Supposedly. Nah, bruh. Yeah.
Yeah, that red that there you go, right? So George Washington chopped down the cherry tree. What year was that? 1700s. What dynasty was it? What flag was it? Again, the five-pointed green star wasn't added on until when?
1915.
So the cherry tree had to be the plain red flag. Yes or no, Morris?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
you want me to say? What you want me to say? We have to. We can't get caught up in fellowship. We have to be in scholarship. That means fact checked. That's how I opened up this call. We got to fact check things, and when you fact check it, this is no slight on Noble. I blame it on the sellouts. But when you fact check it, you see the sellout. You see that? Yeah. This thing has been corrupted. What you gotta do is fact check it. But this is not at all. But let me be unequivocally clear for the record. This is not a slight at Noble Drew Ali. This stuff happened after the man was assassinated, boys. So blame it on the corruption that took place afterwards. And the reason why we have three different sects. One who's a colonel, C. Kirkman Bay, Colonel Kirkman Bay of the United States Army, working with the FBI. And you have this guy who, with a spooky story. Oh, he passed out and woke up with the with the crescent and the moon in his eyes, and he is the reincarnated prophet. Really? Okay. And then the alleged appointment of E. Millie L. by Noble Drew Ali himself. I haven't seen any documents to prove that to be the case. But if there is a document to prove that to be the case, then that means that the proper lineage would be E. Millie L., not no one else. And then you have the Nation of Islam, Fard Muhammad. And then the Persian guy, pale skin, straight hair, right? Who, from where the 5%ers derive their student enrollment, huh? the supreme mathematics, etc. And then obviously you have Elijah Muhammad, who took it further to the next level. Because when Ford L, so-called Master Fard Muhammad, it wasn't the Nation of Islam. It was the Islamic Temple something. I forgot what it was called. It was in Detroit. And Elijah Muhammad turned it into the Nation of Islam thereafter. And he took it from there. This is the unfolding of of what happened to the Moorish Science Temple of America. So we know that truth and falsehood has been strangely mixed as a means to lead the Moors astray. The United States did not have to relinquish more consular court. All they had to do was bring the Moorish Americans into the consular court, be the judges. But they said, nah, that would spill the beans too. That's too much. We got to keep them right where they're at. So they said instead, let's just shut it down, which further proves that the ICJ doesn't have enforcement power, because that was a violation of an ICJ rule, which means someone should have been held accountable, but they weren't held accountable. Which again, it proves that the ICJ doesn't have enforcement power. Their ruling is their ruling, but then it's still left up to the discretion of the state. That's horrible. Islam. So this is the backstory of our beloved flag. I want you all to have pride in the flag, and so therefore you needed to understand the symbolisms in it, the backstory, and the reasons for it. And when you recognize that it's a new flag because it's a new dynasty, there's a lot of pride in that. We rose up as a new dynasty with a brand new flag. They would have expected that we would try to make a claim for that flag with the 5-pointed green star. Nah, you can keep it. That's a French flag. Okay, let me say it like this real quick. If I were to hold on to the old, I would go with the red flag. I prefer that one. the plain red flag. It was powerful to see those Moors in those images going horseback riding with that red flag. And dare I say, I don't know, man. This stuff is deep. The history is complicated, and it's been buried. It's been buried, and then it's been retold based on whitewashing and corrupted information. But has anyone? Okay, so we've talked about the fall of Granada, and you have Boabdil who gave up the kingdom, and then he walked away, right? Him and his comrades, they walked away from the kingdom after they gave the keys to King Isabella and King and Queen Isabella and Trinidad. His mother saved him from embarrassing himself, humiliating himself by kissing Queen Isabella's hands. He didn't have to do that, right? His mom saved him from doing that. He was kneeling to do it. She saved him from having to do that. At any rate, the point being is that when he was walking away, right, with the kingdom that he once ruled in his rearview mirror, there's a famous image called the Moors Weep. And in that picture, you'll see him looking back with like a tear in his eye. And his mom said, don't weep like a woman for what you couldn't protect as a man. That was a savage statement that was made by his mother, disappointed in him for what happened. But when they were walking away, Boabdil and his comrades, they weren't just walking away, they was horsebacking away. Let's put it that way. They was horsebacking away. I believe if I recall, let's look it up. He had someone was flying. So we went over the Constitution for the kingdom. Someone I believe was flying an all red flag. Moors weep. How you spell weep? WHEEP.
I think it's WEEP.
Correct.
Oh, this one here. See, you see how he's like, oh no, I'm not trying to go to Facebook. You know, let's try to use another image. Maybe this one. I guess not. I guess I got it wrong. Muhammad the 12th of Granada. Where's the image? Oh, right here. This is the Moors Week where he was walking, where he was going horseback, looking back at the kingdom, and this is where he gave it up. Somewhere I seen a red flag. I thought I did, perhaps not. But this is the image in Granada. On the left is Boabdil. On the right is the Catholic monarchs that conquered Andalusia. But I guess I was incorrect. I don't see the red flag. But somewhere I've seen that flag. I thought it was as far back as 1492. So I was just saying, there's a lot of misinformation that comes from our history because so many people have corrupted it and whitewashed it, made it their own, and all these things. These are plays. This is a play. This right here, what you're looking at, this image, they play it out in Spain. The Spaniards wearing black faces, face painted. Let's look it up. Spanish. There's a Spanish reenactment. They have it in plays, reenactment, Fall of Granada. They be reenacting it. It's like a cosplay. um, right here. They have parades, commemorating the conquest of Granada, 1492. Medieval histories. So you see, they show you this, and then they show you the parade. You know, the Masonic reenactments. See, in Masonry, all they do is rituals. The rituals that they do are reenactments of things that had happened in the past. Um, where is it? There's images where they will show. Has anyone ever seen those images where they show those Spaniards with the black faces and the turbans? Has anyone seen that?
1 inch.
No? Yeah.
They usually do that on Cinco de Mayo. I do. They do the blackface as well.
The
Talking
Spanish
about in
reenactment of
London? You talking
right
about
here.
London?
Let's read this real quick. Hold on 1 second. The Spanish reenactment of the fall of Granada, known as La Toma de Granada, La Toma, occurs annually on January 2nd in Granada, Spain, commemorating the 1492 surrender of the city by Sultan Mohammed XII Boabdil to King Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I. This event marks the final end of the Reconquista and Islamic rule in the Iberian Peninsula. And we already know that, right? And so what I'm what I'm looking for is the parades, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that. You guys can go back and look it up on your own time. All you got to do is just do your research on the reenactment of the fall of Granada in Spain, and maybe add something to it like blackface. In fact, let me do that real quick. Let me see if that'll put something up. Black faces.
Point of interest.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about, Tony, because they do that in Europe,
yeah,
and
that's
they
in
actually
Spain.
have some.
Europe is in Spain. Yeah.
Right,
There you go,
right,
right
right,
here.
right.
There you go, right there. There you go.
Yeah, and they there was something else they did. Oh yeah, they have streets. They have certain streets, and it's called like Moore Avenue and things like that out there too as well.
Write it down. Look at that. A parade in Alcoy to commemorate the arrival of the three wise men in Bethlehem. So when you look at the nativity of Jesus during Christmas, aren't the three wise men always dark skinned with a turban on? And Jesus is just this little pale baby. Oh, this is what the three wise men look like. They were Moors with the turbans on. What else do they have on here? What was I'm trying to tell you? They know who we are, and in our absence, they cosplay us. They do that in the Shriner clubs. They do it in the Masonic lodges. It's all the Moorish club. They do the same thing. Okay, so the drop of the fall of the when they drop the ball in New York, Times Square, that's commemorating the same thing. And then what happens that following morning in Philadelphia on Broad Street? Can anyone answer that question? Philadelphia. What happens that following morning, New Year's Day? Y'all got to know the answer to this. Come on. The Shriners have their parade on Broad Street, where they be riding around the little Corvettes with the turbans and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about, or no? Are we there? Are we
I
here?
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You guys don't. Let me show
I've
you.
definitely heard of it. Very vague with
I
it
thought
though.
you guys.
I just didn't pay much attention. I
Okay,
definitely
let's look
heard
at
of
it.
it.
Shriners. I thought people knew about this.
Shriners Day Parade.
Shriner Parade, New Year. New Year Shriner Parade is probably what I should put.
I
But
knew
let's
nothing of
put. Yeah, right here. Look, you see this?
it.
You see that?
Oh, them little Corvettes, huh? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. This is the Shriner Parade. I thought you guys knew this. Right around they're cosplaying us. The Corvette. Abdullah from Moroccan Post Media, he breaks down what the Corvette mean.
Morris ship.
Yeah, it's a Moorish ship and all that stuff. Yeah.
So in
There's
reality,
reason.
they're just laughing at us then like this, huh?
Do you look at what they're wearing? You see what they're wearing? That's Moorish garb. The pantaloons, those hammer pants, right? Those are pantaloons. Annual Shriners Parade fills the streets of downtown Newburgh. It's not Moors.
It seemed like they're just laughing at us. That's what it seemed like to me.
That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They're mocking us.
Yeah.
They're mocking us. They ain't gonna be mocking us too much more right now. They're sweating bricks.
Yeah.
They're sweating bricks, but we've always been that little rock in their shoe that's just bothering the hell out that little toe, that little pinky toe.
That little
Take your
sock
shoe
with the
off, you shake
hole
it
in it.
off, and put it. Go ahead.
No, I just said that little sock with the hole in it.
Well, no, what I'm saying is we're throwing on their side. We've always
Yeah,
been, right?
right.
We've always been in the way. We've always been a problem. We've always been a concern. They have spent their entire reign concerned about us. It hasn't been a comfortable, easy reign. I don't care what nobody says. No one can prove otherwise that the United States is in Morocco and they owe an allegiance to the Moors. But the Moors have to make a proper claim coming back in their proper person. You know, so when you talk about uh uh suis, what is it called? The Latin term. Um what is the Latin term for improper person? Does anyone recall?
No.
Sui juris.
For proper person.
Yeah,
Impropriate persona.
improper
Yeah.
persona sui juris. There you go. That's improper persona sui juris means that your Moroccan nationality is officially, legitimately recognized by the government of the Empire of Morocco, not because RV Bey gave you a nationality card. Oh, let me rephrase that. Not because you purchased a nationality card from a website called RV Bey Publications. That's not appropriate persona sui juris. You're still a Moorish subject.
Right.
The only thing that changes your status is when you repatriate, you change jurisdictions, you renounce the citizenship and repatriate to the Empire of Morocco. That's what makes you impropriate persona sui juris. Or Mother Morocco, you're now under the care of Mother Morocco. You see, as such, your consular agents come to your defense against the foreign power. That's impropriate persona sui juris. Not because you said it or because it said so on a card that you purchased on a website. A website is not a government. A website doesn't issue proper identification. They can issue you play identification, but proper identification comes from the state, period. The MSDOV ID cards is not a nationality card. That is a membership card. It's a big difference. It's not a nationality card. The Morrison Temple of America does not have authority or powers to issue state IDs because it's a religious organization. It's not a government. It's not a state. But the Moors seem to think that the MST of A is a government. Good luck with that. Let's see where that's going to take you for the next 100 years. And while we disregard where it already took you, which is nowhere in the past 100 years. So you're gonna be years upon years upon years. That's why he said there will be Moors coming in with their eyes wide open, seeing and knowing that will put the old Moors in the back. And that's exactly what's taking place right now. So much so that the eyes are so wide open, seeing and knowing that we were able to identify and recognize that a new flag was necessary. And that credit absolutely goes to J. Bay. He was the one that recognized that and brought that to my attention. And I had to say, because I had the same arguments, show me the same reference points. When you show me reference points, I gotta pipe down. Like, okay, well, you made your point there. I see the point. So credit goes to him for that, without a doubt. Credit goes to him for coup d'etats too, though. So you get good credit. You get credit for whatever you do, good or bad. I'm impartial and I'm fair, and I'm not gonna throw the baby out with the bathwater. One thing doesn't have to do with the other. You get credit for the good, but you also get credit for the bad. Unfortunately, what we've experienced is that the bad far outweighs the good. Oh my goodness gracious, what a disappointment. At any rate, um, as I stated before, I hope that you guys got something good out of this presentation dealing with your national emblem, flag with pride. It trumps, it preempts, and it trumps, not the president, it trumps the card game. It takes precedence. It trumps the kingdom flag. That's what matters because it's the empire flag versus a kingdom flag. Now, let me say this for the record, for the world to hear. We do not seek to take away the sovereign independence of the Kingdom of Morocco. That's another point. Kingdom of Morocco is sovereign. They do their thing. Ain't nobody mad at them. Which is why we say, well, let's create our own flag so that we don't have that conflict. We cannot appear on an international level to the international community as if we're seeking to dismantle, destroy, disregard, or anything of that effect as it relates to the Kingdom of Morocco. No, the Empire of Morocco recognizes the Kingdom of Morocco as a sovereign state, as distinguished from the ancient Moorish Empire, which is also a sovereign state. Furthermore, the Kingdom of Morocco is within the territorial jurisdiction of the Empire of Morocco. That also must be understood. No different than the United States of America. No different than France, any of the other signatory powers. But what we do not seek to do is to violate their sovereignty and independence. Their sovereignty and independence, the integrity of their domains and their economic liberty without any inequality. The empire is not here to take that away from the Kingdom of Morocco. The empire is here to assert itself back onto the
Oh
national.
yeah, I put it on
Somebody
pause.
got to mute
I'm on the
themselves.
phone.
Someone got to mute themselves, please. The
Yes,
empire is
sir,
here.
Sultan. I just had a point of interest when you finish. Islam.
Yes. Okay. Um. The Empire of Morocco is here to assert ourselves back into the family of sovereign nations. The Empire of Morocco, the Moors are here for their sovereignty and independence. We no longer consent to colonialism and naturalization. We shall and must, per the peremptory norms of international law, from which there shall be no derogation. Our human rights and our rights to self-determination is paramount and necessary because we have been displaced, disenfranchised, naturalized, enslaved, and oppressed for far too long. So the world owes us recognition. I deal with that. Go ahead, brother.
Islam. I appreciate the closing comments, giving acknowledgement and consideration to the kingdom and making the necessary distinguishments. For this particular class, I appreciate Brother James. Um, Brother James pushing the envelope and, bringing the discussion of the flags, to his understanding, so that you can course correct and expound on it even better. But without brothers like Brother James, being very dedicated to what they know and bringing what they know, and you couldn't have very the the way you did it, the way you explained it, and the calm of your presentment, and accepting his challenges. I still appreciate his challenges because it helps bring clarity to the flag, the understanding of the flag, and why we have the flag today and what it is, what it represents for us, who we are today. And I just want to I appreciate that discussion And I appreciate Brother James pushing that. I yield.
Islam. So do I. Uh, I always appreciate a challenge is never um especially challenge on information is always welcome. Let's put it that way. But what we do need to be mindful of is our decorum. That is what we got to be mindful. Okay, so we can't be over talking. We can't be interrupting. You know, when someone says point of interest, that's a signal to the person speaking that the other person has something to say. That's not a means. That's not a an injunction point where you say point of interest to then inject yourself. That's not what that's for. It's to inform or alert the person speaking that you had a quick point of interest, and the person would say, "Well, I yield to you," or they may say, "Hold on, let me finish this point." That's how that works. You don't just T-bone. You don't say point of interest and get to talking. That's not how it works. That violates the whole point of decorum and the term point of interest or the term point of order. Well, point of order is really because if there's out of order, you say point of order. But point of interest is when you have something to say while someone is talking. You got to give that time to allow that person that's speaking to yield the floor or put you on hold while they complete their statement. So that would be my only takeaway from that. We have to be mindful of our decorum when we're conducting, whether it be a meeting or it's a class, and that's when I have to now take control. Um, and I'm used to it. It's always happened with the WRC as the chairman. This has always been a thing. And but I can tell with this current group, and even with the previous group, as long as um, it's expressed and dealt with professionally, that decorum, that that moment of lack of decorum has a tendency to dissipate. It goes away, and everyone will fall in line with especially if the speaker, the person that's speaking, also follows that rule of understanding. But with that, I yield. But I do appreciate the challenge. It allowed me to bring further clarity uh, to the reasons for the flag, our new beautiful empire flag. I yield.
Point of interest. On that note, what you was discussing, I had to bring that clarity to one of my officials that kind of didn't really understand that. And and I can understand that sometimes when you say point of interest, you know, and you're waiting, and then somebody else butts in, and then it seemed like that person just got lost in the sauce. But I had to explain that, just be patient. I know there's people that butts in and just start talking and things, but just be patient and you get your point across. But sometimes it does happen. And we do have a uh a law passed for those outbursts and things of that nature that the House supposed to administer. But yeah, just be patient. You get your point across. Don't just butt in because I know a lot of other people do sometimes. But and then sometimes that person is just they having a two-party discussion. So sometimes you have to wait till the discussion is over with and then get your point across. But sometimes you just have to be patient. I yield.
Is, this is, I believe this is something similar to what I was actually looking for. Um, so you had to see this is the no that yeah Alawite dynasty since 1915. These are all the Alawite dynasties. Madrid, but Marinid, Marinid, Watasid, and Sadi dynasties, 1244 to 1659. That'll be the one with the gold square and the eight pointed star, which is two squares. Imagine that. More science. Almohad. This is the Almohad dynasty, 1145 to 1248. That was the checker flag. Almoravid dynasty, 987 to 1147. See how far that goes? Idrisid dynasty, 789 to 974. See what I'm saying, Morris? Um, so they take it all the way as far back as 1789 to 974, which is the Idrisid dynasty. And look how many years in between before one fell, the other one rose. One fell, the other one rose. There was a presentation once I seen before years ago on the History Channel. They were talking about the Almoravid dynasty and how they fell. I forgot how that story goes. It was years ago, but and obviously they had everyone whitewashed in it. But they did speak on that on the History Channel once upon a time. But you see, these are the different dynasty ones. So then now we can apply this one to the latest dynasty, to the newest dynasty. And this dynasty will never fall, not for the next 1,000 years. I can't see it. And again, that's the reason. That's the reason for the faint black borders as a reminder for the people to say, listen, maintain your honor, your nobility, and your high principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The upliftment of fallen humanity. That energy. If we maintain that energy, we will never lose the empire. The moment we go away from that, you're black again. So, as a reminder, it's for remembrance, the color black on the flag, and obviously also to connect with our red, black, and green brothers and sisters. But this was a great class. Any other comments, questions, or concerns before we close out?
Point of interest.
Yes,
I want to say something to all of us Moors. That remember that when we recognize ourselves by looking in that mirror every day, noticing that you are our ancestral ancestors, we are Moors. Once we recognize ourselves, we show the world unity by moving together as a collective, having these sessions and classes and enlightenment with each other, iron sharpen iron. Just keep in mind that self-recognition goes a long way, and we don't uplift our sultan because this is who we elected. This and our empire is our empire, and our sultan's our sultan, and we should respect our sultan as we respect each other as we look in the mirror. With that, I yield. Peace and love.
Islam's good brother Darrell of YD State Republic.
Islam, brother.
Anyone else? All righty. Well, on a closing note, we are heavy with the forward progress of the empire and its diplomatic relations. We're building up momentum. Next, we're getting ready to send off a letter to each of the heads of the BRICS nation. Who are they? The president of Brazil, the president of Russia, the president of India, the president of China, the president of South Africa. That correspondence will be going out potentially this week. I'm already finished with it. Not finished, I'm sorry. Completing, nearing completion. Just cleaning up a few things, and I have to get to China. I haven't done China yet. And then the WRC will then follow up and send one directly to the BRICS. So there's a letter going to the heads of state of the country that represents the BRICS. And then there'll be the correspondence from the WRC itself that's going directly to the BRICS. So why is that? Well, what is the WRC? What is the WRC?
It's an
organization. What else is it? What's another term? What's the other international term for an international organization?
My time. Was it committee?
No, you're gonna know the answer when I say it. What happens when somebody take a shot and somebody else come out of nowhere and swipes it away. What's that called? In basketball, you're taking a shot and somebody comes and swat it away. What just happened to you? Come on, we ain't got ball players around here. What's going on?
It's a block.
You got rejected.
It's a block. So what is the
Block.
WRC?
Oh, snap. I was saying.
It's a block, an organization or a block. You guys be forgetting this stuff. A block is an organization, like the WRC. See, that's why I asked, because I wanted to test if y'all remembered. And you
My phone
failed.
was muted, Sultan. I answered it the first time you asked. My phone was muted though.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll give you that. Yeah, it's a block, right? So it's an organization speaking to another organization. Yay? So the WRC speaking to the BRICS. But that follows the head of state, the Sultan speaking to the heads of state. So that's about six letters that's about to get ready to go out. Islam. And we're going to use good paper. We're going to use the Sultan seal, and we're going to use the signature. I'll be sharing that letter on Monday. I've already gave the Wazirs a sneak peek. They enjoyed it, and I hope the rest of you enjoy it as well. Islam. But that's that for the forward progress of the empire. I just wanted to give you an update on that, and with that, we can go ahead and close out. This was an excellent class. I appreciate the challenge posed by the good brother James, because there were great questions, and these are questions that the Moorish Americans would have, so they can always refer back to this recording, which will be uploaded to YouTube, to get a better understanding as to why it is that we chose thought proper to redesign the flag for the empire. With that said, you guys, may you all have an excellent evening, and I look forward to seeing you here next week once again. Long live the empire and His Majesty the Sultan. Peace and love, Moors.
Long live the
Long live
empire.
The
Empire,
Empire,
His
His Majesty,
Majesty.
the Sultan.
Long live the Moorish
Sultan.
Empire and His
Empire and
Majesty
His
the
Majesty the
Sultan.
Islam,
Sultan.
Moors.
Islam, Morris.
Long.
Islam, Morris.
Peace and love.
Peace.